Alright, so in lesson 11, we're looking at a draw loop. And the point of this is for us to understand, or to create sprites or animation in a sense. And we're using some properties to essentially make the sprites look like they're moving or that they're animated. So we're going to do the practice problems. We're going to look at 8a. This is 8a. What we're asked to do is to look at the program and essentially make it look like this program right here. So let's go ahead and start by running the code, and we notice that only the green alien is kind of shaking. The pink alien is stagnant. We need to make the other alien, or the pink alien, shake just like the first one. So let's take a look at our code. We have the frame rate set up, and I like that they're organizing us with the comments. Here we've created the sprites. We created the green and the pink alien. So far nothing in the code looks like it's making the alien move or shake. We have the drawing set up. Okay, and in here we have the draw loop, right? Remember, the loop means that it's going to run the code, go back to the top, run it again, go back to the top, and run again indefinitely. We have a black background. We have the ellipse, which is that tiny dot that's moving around, and that's where this comes in. Here we have the green alien's rotation property. It's going to -5 degrees and +5 degrees, so it's shaking kind of clockwise and counterclockwise. So essentially we need to make the pink alien do the same, and if we follow the pattern that we notice, the rotation, I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing. I'm going to use the rotation block, and we're going to talk about the pink alien here. And we're going to go ahead and set the same thing. I'll just drag the block, and we're going to make it from -5 to 5 as well. We can reset it, and it looks like the pink alien is also shaking or rotating. We're going to go ahead and look at B. Might have forgotten to reset this. We're going to reset this. For B, if we run this, we're going to notice, hey, the blender is blurry, right? And that's kind of the debugging. Okay, what we want it to do is shake around, like here. However, it's creating the blurry shaking. So what do we need to do about it? There's a couple things that we can do. I think for me, the easiest way is to kind of remember back when we were comparing the circles, or those the green and orange circles from, I don't know, 4 or 5. Essentially, we are going to only want one blender. So instead of recreating the blender each time, and each time the loop runs, we're going to create a new blender. We don't want that anymore. We just want one blender. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the code that creates the blender to the outside. Okay, let me just kind of put the space too. And now we kind of have this code where if we run it, the blender looks like it's actually just shaking. Okay, again, if we kept this inside the draw loop, every single time we reset the loop, it's going to create a new blender. Okay, we're going to look at C now, which is another debugging one. So here, what we want to happen is the bubbly sprite should have multiple frames of animation, but it seems to stop almost immediately. So if we run this code, we notice that it starts to animate, but then it stops. Okay. So what we mean by that is the animation should look like this. However, that's not happening. So what's going on? There's nothing that's saying stop. It looks like it's drawing the sprites each time. So what's going on? There's a hint here that we could do if we're kind of stuck. There are occasionally some hints. And I think this goes back to number 4, probably 5 or 6, I can't remember the exact bubble, where they emphasize using the background block. Okay, so what we mean is that it's drawing the sprites repeatedly and then kind of drawing on top of each other. So the random bubbles let me kind of emphasize it. So when it kind of creates a sprite, it has 3 bubbles, then these 3, then these 3, and then these 3. And because nothing is kind of resetting it to have the bubbles go away, it kind of looks like it's just staying stagnant, where in actuality it is kind of still repeating itself. So what we're going to have to do is use a background block to actually cover up the old frame. So essentially what's happening is we kind of have this frame. We're going to reset it by just putting a clear a background color, and then it'll show up another frame, background color, and so forth. And let me show you what I mean by that. We are going to go ahead and what are we doing? We're making a background. It could be any color. So let me actually start by doing black, and then I'll show you guys white. Okay, so again, what's happening, it draws one of the animation. It draws one of these animations. It then makes a black background to reset it, and then draws the next one, black background, etc. So I can even emphasize that by kind of doing this. We'll slow it down by a lot. Okay, it has an animation. It kind of resets, black, new animation, black, new animation, black, new animation. So that's what's going on there. Okay, and again, the color doesn't matter. I could do white, so it looks like there is no background, and same thing happens. So that's 8C. Finally, we're going to look at 8D. So another debugging problem. We want it to shake around, but it doesn't look like it's moving at all. Okay, so let's take a look at what's happening. The blender is being created. The background's light yellow. It's drawing the sprites, and then it's moving the sprite around. So here, I think this is a little easier than 8C. We probably are aware that the draw command should be inside the draw loop. And if I do this, we're going to notice we're still going to have a small problem. Okay, now we run into a problem we ran into before, where it's kind of blurry. The variables are outside. And then we're kind of combining what we talked about in the previous lesson, where the background needs to also reset. I'm sorry, be in the loop. Okay, so that is lesson 8, the practice problems.